I may not be a big gamer. Given the choice between watching a movie, a TV show, reading a book, listening to music, or playing a game, I'll be honest and say that games are probably the last on my list. However, there's a few select games out there that I have played so vigorously that I sacrificed sleep in order to finish in one sitting. And one of those was the Uncharted series, which I've played most of, not all, but most of. And there are so many reasons to love this series. I mean, whether you're talking about its cinematic design, dialogue, voice work, primarily from Nolan North as Nathan Drake, whether you're talking about the mysteries at the heart of the games, the non-stop thrill ride of action mixed with its very smart use of comedic undertones, the character dynamics between Drake and Sully, you name it. I think Uncharted is an example of a near-perfect form of storytelling in video game format. So I knew that going into this film was gonna be tricky, and an example of a film that I'm gonna struggle pretty heavily on separating my own bias and expectations of what I want to see from the film and the characters and what the film offers. I knew that going in. So how does Uncharted fare? Let's get cracking. A young, street-smart Nathan Drake and his wisecracking partner Victor Sully Sullivan embark on a dangerous pursuit of the greatest treasure never found, while also tracking clues that may lead to Nathan's long-lost brother. To get this out of the way, if you're gonna be going into this film expecting it to be exactly like the video games, get that out of your head right now. It takes that mostly as inspiration, while also taking inspiration from other treasure hunting stories and films, such as Indiana Jones, National Treasure, or Tomb Raider, etc. I think at the end of the day, it is kind of trying to do its own thing, so I can't fault it too hard, but I don't love the casting. Now look, Tom Holland does make sense, because he's the type of actor that blends really well into anything that he's given. He's basically the next Shia LaBeouf, in a way. At least before Shia went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Plus, his physical agility and experience in gymnastics really helps him physically get into that kind of role, same as Spider-Man. But Mark Wahlberg was the wrong choice, plain and simple. Now, when I close my eyes and I listen to the words that these people are actually saying, the dialogue, I hear the characters of Sully and Nathan Drake, plain as day. Even Mark's character, Sully, he's there, at least in the script, but he plays it off like Marky Mark, which doesn't exactly do the character any kind of justice, in my opinion. It ends up being a distraction, actually. The mystery at the heart of the film feels pretty weak to me as well, like it's almost super generic. We have to find some kind of golden treasure. I mean, that's it? Indiana Jones was always something incredibly popular, like the famed religious artifacts, or Tomb Raider, they literally went after Pandora's box, or like in National Treasure, the treasure that they went after, and that was actually the same one that they went after in Da Vinci Code. There's always a hook to the treasure, even in the games, but I didn't see it here. They clearly wanted to focus a little bit more on the action, and maybe the clues that they run into more so than the treasure itself, which was honestly kind of weak. The components of the game are there though, like the opposite team of evil treasure hunters also going after the same thing. That was there. I appreciated that. From a purely on the surface type of approach, the film's not bad. I mean, it has some really fun moments. It has like 2 or 3 really good over-the-top action set pieces, most of which you see in the trailer anyway. You have Nathan Drake saying crap a lot, which you kind of want at the end of the day. Even though the main mystery, or the treasure, is kind of weak in my opinion, it has a lot of fun clue-solving moments that keep things going strong. My biased experience with the film, and I feel like this won't be fair, but I was kind of bored here and there with the film, and a majority of that had to do with the overall plot and the treasure that everybody was willing to kill over to find. It also had to do with the ever so slightly chemistry between Holland and Wahlberg. It had to do with a number of things, I'll admit, but the simplest explanation is, it's not as epic as it should be. And that's not just me saying it because the games are epic, which they are. It has more to do in comparison to Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, and National Treasure, all of which feel bigger and iconic and memorable, while this feels like Indiana Jones on training wheels. It has a way to go before it finds itself. So what do you score it, Dave? Well, I'll tell you. From a strictly technical vantage point, or what I call my unbiased score, I give this 68%, which on its own isn't that bad for any other movie. I would say it impressed in some spots, but not nearly in all the spots it could. Same goes here, because there's definitely areas that could have used a little bit more focus, such as music, or cinematography, or casting, or heck, writing of the main plot. A lot of it felt not great, just acceptable, basically. So 68%. My bias score, or just kind of how I felt about it in general, that's a little bit higher because there are certain areas to enjoy, not gonna lie. I mean, the action's fun, the quips are funny, the clues throughout the film are pretty decent. Again, it's not super memorable at the end of the day, but what can you do? So my bias score is 72%, meaning that when we combine the two scores together, we wind up with a final rating of 70%, 70 out of 100 possible stars, or a B- letter grade on my letter grading scale. Guys, let's hear your thoughts on Uncharted in the comments section down below. Now, have you played the video games? Have you not? And if you haven't, how do you compare it to stuff like Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, or National Treasure? Or even The Mummy? Heck, yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell to be notified when I come up with my next review. Till then, peace!